When can we say that triangles are congruent? Congruent triangles have corresponding sides and angles that are congruent. So let's take a look at this example. So what are the corresponding sides and angles? So our symbol for correspondence is this one. So you look at the sides. So you can see here that side AS measures 5 cm and side IJ also measures 5 centimeters. So we can say that AS corresponds to IJ. Next, SN measures 7 cm. JO also measures 7 cm. So we can say that SN corresponds to JO. And lastly, we have AN and IO. They both measure 9 centimeters. So we can say that AN corresponds to IO. So it is the same for angles. You look for the angles that have the same measurement. So angle A has the same measurement as angle I. So we can say that angle A corresponds to angle I. Angle S and angle J, they both measure 85 degrees. So we can say that angle I corresponds to angle J, or rather angle S corresponds to angle J, and the last one is angle N corresponds to angle O because they both measure 35 degrees. Next, how is a congruent statement between two triangles formed? So let's go back to our example earlier. So given the corresponding sides and angles, how can we write the congruent statement? So let's start with the triangle at the left. So we have triangle ASN. So we write triangle ASN. Now, our symbol for congruence is like an equal sign with a wavy line on top. So that's our symbol for congruence, and it means that the two triangles are congruent. So how should we write the second triangle? So you look at the corresponding sides and angles. So we know that angle A corresponds to angle I. So in your second triangle, you should also write angle I first. Angle S corresponds to angle J. So in your second triangle, you should also write angle J. And angle N, of course, corresponds to angle O. So it should also be last in your second triangle. So if you're going to check the sides, AS corresponds to IJ. So that's correct. SN corresponds to JO. So that's also correct. And lastly, AN corresponds to IO. So that's also correct. Now, if you want to write your first triangle as, let's say, NSA, is that also correct? Yes, that's also correct. But your second triangle should also be changed. It cannot stay as IJO. So since we wrote it as NSA, so we wrote N first. So here we should write O first, followed by J, and then lastly followed by I. So when writing your congruent statement, the corresponding sides and angles should always match.